On this episode of Bite Sized, we are watching and discussing the 46th scene of the movie Twilight. For those of you watching along at home, that's from 109:23 to 110:54. And now, on to the episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome back, or welcome if this is your very first episode, to Bite Sized. If you are new to the show, here's what's going on. My name is Ben. I am your host. I'm watching the movie Twilight one scene at a time with a different guest every week. I take someone I like and send them about 90-ish seconds of the movie Twilight. We talk about it with little to no other context. Joining me today is a guest I think I'd say I'd like. We have an actor, a long-distance runner, and a wife, because she is my wife, Mindy Shore. Welcome back to Bite Size.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here in this apartment that we share. How's it going? How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here.
Good. Glad to hear it. Glad to have you here. Let's cut the chit-chat and get straight on in to the episode. I'm going to start this interview the way I start every interview. That is by asking you, what is your history with the Twilight franchise?
That's such a great question.
Thank you.
I am a huge Twilight fan.
Yeah.
I was introduced to the books when I was roughly 13.
Who introduced you, would you say?
My friend Rachel at
Okay.
the time. I wasn't that much of a reader, but it seemed like everyone was reading them, and they convinced me that you have to read this book. And so I was like, okay, fine. And so I was reading it, and it was like a big deal when they kissed. And I remember that was like a huge moment for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I went to the Eclipse book release party at midnight at my local Barnes & Noble.
What was this book release party like? Because I've been to, I used to be a midnight premiere guy in my teenage college years, you know. But a book release party, it seems like for a movie release, you get to sit and watch the movie. But for a book release, I feel like you wait in line for a long time, and then as soon as you're done with the line, you buy your book and you just sort of go. Was there more stuff going on?
Yeah, I think I remember it being more like a party at
Okay.
Barnes & Noble. I remember that me and Rachel and maybe Emily made T-shirts for the affair. And now I'm looking back, this was probably bad, but the shirts that we made, it said, I have OCD, obsessive colon disorder.
And where is that shirt now?
That's such an important question, and it's probably in a landfill.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's a shame.
Yeah. No, I remember other people dressed up, and there were probably like, I don't know, giveaways and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then you waited in line and you got your book, and then someone's mom or dad picked us up.
Was this at like midnight, I guess?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm assuming it was, which is sort of crazy for me. I'm not a late night person.
You're really not.
Yeah.
I know this perhaps better than anyone, that you're in bed by like 9 o'clock.
Yeah. So the fact that I was there, kind of iconic for me.
Really shows true dedication, I think.
Yes.
Were you that same way with the movies? Did you go to the midnight releases?
I feel like I must have. I don't remember seeing them in theaters. I know I did.
Okay.
I think I let them go for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
Throughout like high school and college. And then, I was living with girlfriends. I was living with my friend Leia, and that, Saturdays and Sundays when Freeform would have the Twilight marathons, that we would just like plop on the couch, order food. And that was just like a comfort weekend for us.
Yeah.
And I think reconnecting with her sort of made me fall back into my love and joy for this franchise.
Speaking of love and joy, eventually we met, and you showed me Twilight. Not for the first time. I had seen them, I think, exactly all the movies one time before. But we watched them for the first time at some point, maybe I'd say less than a year into our relationship. Did you think that was ever something that was going to happen at some point? Did you ever, with me or any boyfriend you ever had, did you think there was ever going to be a time where you say, let's sit down and watch all Twilight movies over the course of the weekend?
I didn't plan for it to be like a big reveal or
Okay.
anything like that. But I think when I see that they're on TV, I remember how important they are to me.
Yeah, and now Twilight has really changed your life.
Yeah, Twilight really has become a big thing for me lately. I'm a famous long distance runner.
Yeah.
And you made me a sign for one of my half marathons with a picture of Kristen Stewart that said, "You're impossibly fast and strong" on it. Obviously a quote from Twilight. And you brought that to my race. And I took a picture of you holding the sign and some flowers and posted it on Twitter. I think this famously was 9/11. Or
around that time
that I posted it.
Because it was around my mom's birthday.
Right.
Yeah.
And it just went mega viral.
Yeah.
And I mean, I knew it was great, but I did not expect it to go anywhere. I've never gone viral.
Sure.
And then I think in that moment I realized how much Twilight was going to mean to me.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
Right. And apparently to me, because it led to this podcast, this is something I think about sometimes, but I've never asked you before, is how does it feel that you showed me Twilight one time and now I've sort of built my entire personality around it?
Well, I think it makes me feel loved.
Okay, good.
Because it's the fact that you jumped feet first into this thing that you saw brought me a lot of joy in a fun and silly way. And now it brings you joy as well. And I feel like it's brought you community too.
Sure.
I sort of love that you have formed such a relationship with something that I love. And I only wish that I could do the same for you.
Yeah, we'll get to work on that. I'll show you some of my favorite movies. And we'll see if you can start a podcast about them.
Okay.
I'm really looking forward to your Lord of the Rings podcast.
Right. I don't think it would hit the same, but...
No, probably not. And that's okay. Yeah, I'm really glad you were into Twilight because it allowed me to do a lot of incredible things and has really, really changed my life. And I'm really glad you weren't a Harry Potter fan.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I agree. And I think being a Twilight fan takes more guts.
In what way?
I think being a Harry Potter fan, no offense to the Harry Potter fans out there, is sort of square and boring.
Yeah. It's maybe not so much recently, but for a long time it was safe.
Right. It's safe and it's mainstream.
No one was out there making fun of, except for maybe some jerks. Pop culture, by and large, was not making fun of Harry Potter fans for being into Harry Potter.
No, they were very accepting of that.
Yeah.
And is it because it's a male-centered story? It very well could be.
I mean, I would say almost certainly.
But you don't have you don't have Twilight World or whatever that Harry Potter has at Disney or wherever that is.
No, there's not like a Twilight Broadway musical on tour right now. Maybe one day.
Maybe one day for sure. But I think that it definitely has to do with the fact that Twilight is a female-centered story. I also think that, and this is a thing that I encounter a lot, is that people don't take the world of romance and romance novels very seriously.
Yeah.
And Twilight is, there's all the fantasy and the drama, but like it is a romance story.
Sure.
And I think people look down on romances and just consider it chick lit and that's it. But those are important stories to tell. And
sure.
I think we should not bash and make fun of things that women and girls like.
Except for Harry Potter.
I think we
can bash Harry Potter at this point. Yeah, it's fine. Let's get into the scene we talked about today. We start off with Bella and Edward. Really, the whole scene is them just sort of whooshing around the forest, having little snippets of conversation in trees. Let's get into the nitty gritty. We start off with maybe the most famous line, maybe in this whole movie. I think so.
Yeah, one of them.
You better hold on tight, Spider Monkey.
Right up there with like This Is the Skin of a Killer.
Right.
Maybe one or two others from this movie.
How You Like in the Rain, Girl?
That's a good one. Everyone loves that one. But we start off with You Better Hold On Tight, Spider Monkey.
Yeah.
Do you know the story behind how this line came to be in the movie?
Like how Robert Pattinson said the line?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, there's a whole story behind it. So apparently, when Twilight the screenplay was written and finished and went to shooting, this line was not in there. And so on the day they were filming, they decided they wanted to have a line after he sort of whooshes. So he says this, he says, "You better hold on tight, Spider Monkey," after he whooshes out of the house and off before he goes like out into the forest. And they decide he wants to say something. Unfortunately, the day they were filming this, there was a writer's strike going on, which means there were no professional writers on the set who could help them come up with a line to be said. So Catherine Hardwicke, director of Twilight, came up with a long list of options, gave them to Robert Pattinson, and said, "Pick the one you like the best," and this is the one he chose.
I had no idea.
What do you think about his choice?
I need to see the list.
Oh, let's get to the printouts that I have now. Specifically, I found on a website called TwilightSeriesTheories.com, they collected the other options through a series of MTV.com interviews. There are 8 of them, and we're going to do dramatic readings for you, the listener, now.
Wow.
It's like I told you, Mindy, you were going to really use your acting degree today.
Okay.
So we're doing this in 2 parts because there are 8 lines. 4 of them are just Edward, and 4 of them are Edward and Bella. So we're going to start off with the just Edwards. We'll take turns being Edward. And then we're going to do Bella and Edward. You will be Bella. I will be Edward.
Okay.
So I want you to go first. You're going to be Edward. And really give me your best Edward. Really get into it's 2008. You're Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
Really sell me on that first line there on the sheet.
Okay. Prepare for takeoff.
All right. What do you think? You know.
I sort of like it.
All right. Okay. Here's mine. Prepare for liftoff. Same thing, but now he's a rocket this time instead of a plane.
Right.
I think neither of those are better than Hold On Tight, Spider Monkey.
No, they're not very strong.
No, they're not evocative. They don't have the imagery of holding on tight, Spider Monkey.
Right.
Let's move on to your second Edward option there.
Are you secure? There may be some turbulence.
I don't love it.
That sounds like sex.
Okay, interesting. Because what kind of turbulence are they going to run into when he's jumping around?
Right. Like, Is it that windy that day?
I don't know. But let's get into option number 4. Fasten your seatbelt. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
These all sound very sexual.
A little bit.
And maybe that's just because we're staring deep into each other's eyes reading it.
As a married couple,
right.
Yeah.
But maybe a bumpy ride. Like,
I know. Fasten your seatbelt. There's no seatbelt back there. It doesn't make sense.
I mean, she is already sort of like humping it, like that leg around his leg. She's sort of like rubbing it up and down at one point. I mean, like this is already getting sexual. And I feel like, I don't know, turbulence, seatbelt, like that seems a bit much.
I think so. And it really does feel like these are lines written by not a professional writer, but someone who definitely does fly like on planes a lot for work.
Yes.
Who travels a lot for work. Because it's just the first few things you think of are, yep, flying like a plane, buckle your seatbelt, there's going to be turbulence. Yeah.
Right. I mean, is the idea that he can fly? Like, I never thought that it was him flying. I just thought he's jumping out the window and he's able to like land really well.
Yeah,
like,
he's got very powerful leg muscles.
Right.
And he can catch himself.
Right.
In a way that doesn't hurt either of them. There's a lot. I think it would be very difficult. We'll get more into this after this portion of the podcast, but it would be really difficult for him to do what he's doing without guaranteeing that Bella would not get hit in the face by branches.
Yeah.
She would for sure come out of this one bleeding.
Right.
Yeah. But let's get back into the line reading because now we're moving on to part 2, which are the Edward and the Bellas. For all of these, Edward reads first.
Okay.
I've given myself the Edward role. And you will be the Bella. So I need you to shift now to Kristen Stewart, your Bella. Give me your best Bella. And it better be different from your Edward.
It will be.
You're not scared of heights, are you?
Not that I know of. That's not bad.
Not bad. It's better than Prepare for Liftoff or Are You Secure?
Yes.
She's not secure. Let's be honest.
She's not secure.
In no way is she secure. All right, number 2. Hold on tight.
Don't worry.
That one's not exciting.
Don't worry? Why would she say don't worry?
Yeah. Well, that's Bella. She doesn't want people to worry about her.
Yeah.
But it's just, we talked about not exciting. I think that's the most boring line that we have so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 3, here we go. Got a good grip? Don't let go.
No chance of that, buddy.
Okay, now that one is interesting.
Buddy. Who thought of buddy?
Not a Bella word. I don't see her using that word a lot.
Okay.
All right, you ready for the last one? Mm-hmm. Wrap your legs around me like a spider monkey.
Done.
That's
wow.
Yeah.
That's wordy. That's a little wordy.
It's long and like as weird a point of reference spider monkey is. At least holding on tight to something seems like something a spider monkey would do, but like I don't think spider monkeys are famous for wrapping their legs around things.
I've never met a spider monkey.
I never have either. But when I think of spider monkeys, I don't think, they hold on to stuff with their legs.
I don't know what a spider monkey is.
It's a monkey that sort of climbs and jumps a lot,
Would you equate it to the monkeys in The Wizard of Oz?
I could kind of see not really. This is a
You could kind of see not really?
Yeah, not really. No, this is a spider monkey. They're sort of long-limbed and have very long tails, and I'm assuming are prehensile. That's what Bella is supposed to be when she's holding on.
That animal looks like something I'd want to give a hug to.
Yeah.
And I feel like in this context, you better hold on tight, spider monkey. Like, it almost feels like a threat.
Yeah.
And I feel like that animal is not threatening me. That animal is going to like hug a tree.
Yeah. Now, interestingly, spider monkeys were kind of having their moment in the mid-2000s in the movie. See, I don't know if you remember the movie Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby.
I must have missed that one.
It's a good one. One of the most famous lines from that movie is, "I'm coming at you like a spider monkey," as a little kid says that to his grandfather.
Interesting.
It was, we all said it for like a few months after that movie came
Who's
out.
we?
People, the general public.
Like you and your homeschool friends?
Okay, well, when you say it like that, yeah, I guess so.
No one ever said that at my high school.
No. Okay. So what I'm saying is spider monkeys must have been hot in Hollywood around this time, because to get in a big Will Ferrell movie and to get in Twilight, clearly people were talking about spider monkeys all the time.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because of the dark cinematic nature of this film. The sort of blue
Shit.
aura.
God damn it. Coming. Yeah, that's it. That's the Bluebell, Mindy.
Yep.
People on the show tend to mention how blue the movie Twilight is, and no one's done it in a while. So when I set up the podcast, I left it in on my desk. But I went and got it, and we rang the bell.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, you were saying.
Well, because of the sort of, dark, moody blue nature of this film, I was thinking, thank you, I'm thinking of like a more creepy creature.
Yeah.
Better hold on tight, like something with claws.
So knowing what we know now, having heard those alternatives, do you think Robert Pattinson made the right choice?
I do. You better hold on tight, spider monkey gives us the most visual.
Sure.
It also feels the most specific.
Yeah.
I think specificity is important.
Yeah.
Whereas like turbulence, like, I don't know, that's a very general term. Turbulence could mean like a little bumpy. Turbulence could also mean like we're going down. I mean, like,
it's sort of is this perfect combination. Everything else is either too normal or too weird. Like if he just said, "Hold on tight," and she said, "Don't worry," that's boring. No one's going to remember that. But if he said the full "wrap your legs around me like a spider monkey," that's too much. And so I think you better hold on tight, spider monkey is just the perfect amount of weird to be memorable and to stand out, and so that we would spend 15 minutes talking about it here 16 years after the movie came out, but not so weird that it's distracting,
But do you think that he was saying, let me pick a memorable line?
I mean, I don't think he thought it through that fully, but I think that's, if I were to look at that list of 9 lines, I think that would be a common one to gravitate to. Because it's interesting, but not too interesting. Does
But
that
are we
make
just
sense?
saying that now because of the film?
Well, there's no way to know.
Right.
We can't go back.
And that's the end of the episode. Thank you.
It's not. We still got to finish talking about this scene because that's really like the first 5 seconds. Basically, the way this scene works is Edward jumps to a tree. They say 2 or 3 sentences. Then they jump to another tree. He jumps to a tree and he says,
Do you trust me?
In theory,
Then close your eyes.
and then he jumps to another tree and we cut to a shot of Bella with her eyes fully open. So I guess he doesn't trust her. She doesn't trust him, I mean.
I think she did close her eyes and then she opened them back up.
Pretty much immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't say how long to close your eyes.
No, that's fair. It's just sort of it's a long blink, we'll call it. You know, and they're just sort of jumping around from tree to tree for the whole thing, and then there's a long helicopter shot, and that's it. Do you think this would work on you if you were dating a guy and he sort of jumped you from tree to tree like that? How do you think you would enjoy that as a date activity?
As a date activity.
That's basically what this is here.
I mean, are there going to be snacks later? Or?
No, here's what's going to happen. You're going to get on my back. I'm going to tell you to hold on tight, Spider Monkey. And then I'm going to jump into some trees. I'm going to do my best to make sure that you do not get hit in the face with branches or smack your head into my head. And then we're going to stand in some trees and you're going to have to sort of hold yourself up because there's really no comfortable way to stand or sit without, not being in danger of falling a very great distance.
I don't think I would enjoy this.
But what if I told you got to look at a boat from really far away?
A boat?
Yeah, there's a boat at some point in the scene.
Oh. Yeah, I don't think I would love that. I feel like if it was more of like a helicopter situation, sort of more like 50 Shades, I would be like, yeah, I'm into that. I just am wondering, like, there's got to be a lot of wind up there.
Yeah.
And that wasn't really portrayed when she was just sort of standing in the tree.
No, her hair looks really good.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, the trees, as they get taller and you're more up at the top of the tree, don't you think they're less stable?
Yeah, trees are traditionally smaller at the top than they are at the
Right.
bottom. That's sort of how
And
trees
I know
work.
that's sort of how trees work. I know that these trees are, hundreds of years old,
Sure.
and I'm sure they're very
Some
secure,
old growth
and
pines or whatever.
stable. But still, I feel like the top of it can't be that stable. We're two grown adults.
No,
that
definitely
stand.
not. And like to stand up in a tree like that, you're absolutely having to hold yourself up and like pay a lot of attention to keeping your balance.
Right. I feel like it's a lot of core strength
It is,
needed,
yeah.
and like a lot of core work. And I feel like most dates, I don't want to be doing core exercises unless like you're going to pay for all my Pilates classes. Like then, okay, that's fine.
Good to know.
But I don't think I would really love that as a date activity. I don't know. I feel like it's also going to be like wet up there.
Yeah, it for sure is.
There could be animals,
Yeah.
birds. I don't know. I don't really want to deal with that.
A lot of stuff that aren't really a concern for Mr. Vampire, but for the human lady, that's a lot for her to have to worry about. And it's a little inconsiderate of him, I think.
That's interesting.
Maybe he's forgotten that, humans aren't super strong, and holding yourself at the top of a very tall tree actually takes a lot of athleticism.
Yeah, he probably wasn't thinking that.
No. Men, am I right?
I mean, you think he's done this before with another human?
Oh, this is totally his move.
And do you think he's gotten feedback that this is a good time?
No, probably not.
Because clearly the other girls haven't stuck around.
Yeah.
Do you think, like, Emmett does this too?
I don't think Emmett has to. I think Emmett, I don't know the whole story, but I'm pretty sure Emmett just has, what's her name?
Rosalie?
Yeah, that
But do you
one.
think that Emmett and Rosalie together say, let's go have fun and go on a date. Let's go to
Yeah.
the top of the tree.
No, I think this is something I could see, and really this is more of a personality thing, but it's something I could see Emmett doing, but not so much Rosalie,
This feels more like an Alice and Jasper activity.
Interesting.
I think Emmett is too busy driving his truck.
Yeah, and Rosalie doesn't enjoy having fun.
And Rosalie, I think, is too concerned about her hair.
She likes to stand around looking angry, I think.
Yeah, which is a great activity and a great hobby to have.
It's a fun way to spend your time.
Sure, I support that.
Yeah.
I wonder if Bella gave him feedback after that.
If she said, like, hey, man, there's pine needles in my hair now.
I mean, like...
Uh-huh. No, for sure, because, like, unless he has a specific route that he knows of, in order to get like where they're standing up against the trunk of the tree, you have to go through foliage.
Right.
You have to go through twigs and leaves and stuff like that. And when you're moving fast like that, jumping from tree to tree, that's going to hurt you as a human and maybe not a vampire. Again, pretty inconsiderate.
I mean, do you think also when he is latching onto the tree, you think he has like scratches on his hands?
No, not on his hands, but I think like if you watch the way he moves when he's climbing the trees, his body like stays very still and he just sort of flails his arms and legs. Like he's clearly not looking for a good handhold and like grabbing branches and hoisting himself up. It looks like he's just like shoving his fingertips into the wood and using that to like claw his way up the tree.
I wonder what his fingernails look like.
They've got a lot of bark under them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's a strong vampire, you know? It's like he's a statue.
Right. I wonder if he ever got hurt.
I don't know. It's very sad.
That is sad. I think another feature of this scene that we should discuss is the music.
Okay.
This is one of the big moments where we hear Bella's theme.
It is, yeah. It starts off, it's a little mixed in with other music. But the next scene definitely is the premiere of the Bella song.
Right, yeah, when he's playing the piano later.
Right.
When I'm thinking of Bella's song, like this is what I'm picturing. Like I'm picturing them flying through the trees and, going all over. Like this feels like such an iconic moment for the song.
Right.
I don't know. I'm like picturing the TikToks of the people like twerking to the song when I'm like watching this scene.
And has that ruined it for you a little bit?
No, absolutely not. I think it's made it more better.
Interesting. It's a pretty... It's a pretty standard way to approach something like this. It reminds me a lot of the very first Superman movie. You know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. Then let's start to wrap this thing up. The very last question of the interview portion. If you had to give the scene a name, what would it be? And you've done this before, so it better be good.
Mr. Barky Nails.
Mr. Barky Nails. All one word, Barky Nails?
No, that's 2 words.
Okay, I got to retype it. Mr. Barky Nails. Incredible. Maybe the best episode title we've ever had.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for being on this show. If people want to learn more about you and maybe see a play that you are in or some inspiring running content, where can they do that sort of thing? Mindy Shore?
Sure. I'm on the internet at Hey Mindy on, all the platforms that you would normally find people on.
Sure.
I'm also a proud artistic member of Red Theater here in Chicago, so please check out their work. I'm also a proud runner for Team Milk, which is supporting women runners and trying to get more women into running marathons.
Yeah, good for your bones.
Right.
So you
love
can
that chocolate milk.
do things like that, running around some trees, I guess.
Yeah.
If you want to follow the show on social media, you can do so at bitesizepod_ on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, where I post clips of the show, stuff like that. If you want to send an email to the show, you can send an email to myfavoritetwilightpodcast@gmail.com. Apologies to all of the Twilight podcasts. All that information and more, including information on how you can support the show at twilightpodcast.com. Give it a check out. Give the show a like, a subscribe, a review, a share, tell it to a friend. All that stuff that I'm not going to bother you with anymore. Thank you to my editor, Ben Oxer, for putting this together. Thank you to the band Swimwear Department for letting me use their song Maul to Death as our theme. Thank you to Kellen Lutz for listening to this one day and finally telling us how Emmett really feels about jumping around in trees. And that is it. That is all we have at the end of, as we always say, at the end of every episode.
There's a pine needle in my hair.
There's a pine needle in my hair. See you next time.
Bye.
Prepare for liftoff.
Prepare for takeoff.
It's gonna be a bumpy ride.
There may be some turbulence.
You're not scared of heights, are you?
Not that I know of.
Hold on tight.
Don't worry.
Don't let go.
No chance of that, buddy.
Wrap your legs around me like a spider monkey.
Done.